to this episode of Experts on Purpose. The special guest we have today is Kimberly Smith. Kimberly is a resilience and life transition coach and the founder of Encompass Coaching. Kimberly is a resilience and life transition coach and is the founder of Encompass Coaching. Through coaching services, speaking, and writing, Kimberly helps ambitious women, mothers, and entrepreneurs stop stressing and focus so that they can flourish within their careers, families, businesses, and relationships. Kimberly's clients build a positive and resilient mindset while increasing energy and confidence and crushing their personal and professional goals. Hey, Kimberly, welcome to Experts on Purpose.
Hi, Jotza. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure, Kimberly. Your journey is very similar to mine. So how did you move from being a corporate employee to really owning this business as a life coach?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's funny. If somebody had told me that I would become an entrepreneur, that I would become a business owner and become a life coach, 10 years ago, I honestly would never have believed it. I always pictured myself working in an office. When you're a kid, people play teacher, a lot of people play doctor. I played office. I always was on a calculator or computer and doing the things. And so the corporate world came very naturally to me. I really enjoyed it. Over the years, it took its toll on me, Jotza, just navigating tough personalities, tough situations, trying to find myself amidst trying to be what I thought I needed to be in this particular space to be taken seriously. I think right after college, you really want to prove yourself. You really want to earn your worth and show people what you're made of. Once I got married and became a mother, of course, your priorities shift a bit, right? And I think the corporate world, right, whether that's here in the United States or around the world, I think that they're really lagging behind, right? Especially here in the States, I think. They're not as sensitive to people's needs or mental health or just like the challenges that we encounter throughout life in our personal lives. And, that all bleeds over into the corporate world. I had kind of this reckoning, right? Like early 30s crisis, I guess you could call it. And I had to ask myself some important questions. And I was not happy in my career any longer. I was at one point in time, I think I had outgrown it. And, I came from a recruiting and staffing and talent acquisition background. So I had been career coaching people for a very long time. And I had to start thinking about my skill set in a different way, right? Like just not how I had been using it, but how could I actually pivot? How could I apply those same skills to another arena, a new challenge? And it's interesting because I heard about life coaching on a podcast. So I thought, that's interesting. And I, started that research and it just kind of evolved from there. So yeah, it's been a beautiful journey for sure of how everything's kind of come full circle.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And it's such a coincidence that my first business was also into staffing and recruitment.
Oh my gosh, really? Are you serious?
Exactly. And that's when my kid was born. And I had this question in my mind, if I should really focus on building this new thing, or should I, really be a good mom and just do all the mommy things, right? So at what point did you actually decide, like you were kind of not too happy and you were questioning your priorities? So at what point did you decide that let me now go and build these new set of skills with the already existing skills you had built in your corporate job and actually quit it and start your business? How did that transition happen?
Oh yes, Jotza. Yeah, it was a whirlwind. It was not this peaceful transition. And that's something that I work on a lot with my clients. When we are in transition, we want things to go really smooth, right? And there are ways to kind of prepare things, right? This all came out of nowhere. I mean, I really suffering from anxiety, depression, burnout, exhaustion, through all of the challenges. My marriage had taken a kind of a back step. It was honestly crumbling. Both me and my husband at the time, we were not coping with stress in the best ways. We were not prioritizing each other, and we hurt each other along the way. There was my marriage wasn't doing well, my career was on a backslide. And the first things first, I'm very open about my journey through mental health. I found a therapist. I needed
Right.
to find some clarity around, is this normal? Right? Like, is
Mm.
this, how do I feel better right now? And it was first getting my health and really taking some time off. I know that is something that we're not used to doing, and perhaps it's been a benefit of this pandemic in the sense that we have been able to slow down and reprioritize and kind of shift things a little bit. But things are picking back up, and at the time too, I had to put myself first. I had to really be intentional about what I
Mm.
wanted, right? So it was asking myself, okay, what do I even want? If this isn't what I want, then what do I want?
Yeah.
Um, and then it was doing a lot of mindset work to really believe that I could have it, right? And it was just taking one step at a time, right? Like, I did not look at, wow, I want to have a life coaching business. I want to have all of it be on podcasts, right? Like, there was some of that swirling around in my head, but I knew that the skill set I did have was career coaching, resume writing, interview preparation, all of it. So I started to monetize that first, right? So that was what I was comfortable with. That was what I was confident with. And
Right.
people kept coming to me. They're like, "Hey, can you look at my resume? Can you write me a resume?" Like,
Mm.
and so I was like, "All right, I could charge for this. I could make some money here." And that's how it began. I started tinkering around, threw up a website. And the life coaching program that I had heard about on that podcast, I had continued to look at and research other programs. And that was actually the one that I really felt
Mm.
strongly called to. It really met my needs in terms of, it being virtual. It was accredited by the International Coaching Federation. It was in my budget, right? So it kind of ticked all the boxes, and it really had a good vibe to it. And
Right.
so finally, I just, I was scared for sure, but I just pulled the trigger one day. I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. Like, and
Mm.
the rest of the pieces of my life were not figured out. I was still in marriage counseling with my husband, trying to figure out if we could save our marriage. I wasn't formally employed. I had started, career coaching people, but really had no idea what the heck I was doing in terms of running an actual business. Um, it just felt like I was experimenting. It felt like one big experiment.
Yeah.
And I think that's
And that phase is really important, right? For you to really understand what are your strengths, what do you really want, what makes you happy. And
yeah,
also the other good point that I noticed is you did not like drop everything and try to find something new, but you already had these skills that you built in your corporate career, and you didn't let that, just go wasted. So you picked up those skills and tried to monetize that first. You really capitalized on your corporate skills, and then in the side you were also building these new skills for life coaching.
absolutely. And even when I didn't know it, actually, too, to this new arena of, I had never built a website before, right? Like, they have some really amazing platforms and tools now that make it very simple to drag and drop and
Mm.
whatever. And I mean, again, I was completely out of my comfort zone, but I think that's where the beginner's mindset is so valuable, right? And that beginner's mindset is one that really embraces, hey, I know I'm not going to be great at this. I'm probably going to suck at it. And I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to just play around. I'm going to tinker. I'm going to experiment, and I'm going to see what comes of that. Right. And I know that I'm going to learn some things along the way. I'm going to get closer and closer and figure out something new each day that I work on it. Right. And that's a really great feeling to take that pressure off yourself, to have it be perfect the first time, or to have it be a huge success the first time. Because I can tell you, I mean, I've had a lot of disappointments and a lot of things that didn't go as planned.
Mm.
But I've always come out of those experiences with more knowledge, more data
Yeah,
to apply for the future.
sure. I think that beginner's mindset is really valuable. Otherwise, we'll keep beating ourselves up for not being perfect, and we will probably never launch anything if we are not okay with making those mistakes.
For sure, for sure. And it is. I mean, there are some rough disappointments throughout the entrepreneurial journey, right? And it's humbling. It's definitely humbling in a beautiful
Yeah.
way. But you refine those skills going forward, and you get better at giving yourself grace and giving other people grace. And it's really valuable.
Yeah. Kimberly, what's really interesting about your journey is you recognized that you wanted to prioritize yourself and you needed help. So you went and did those therapy sessions, which were really important at that stage. And
Yeah.
you didn't wait till you became, 100% qualified. You were also parallelly trying to learn these skills to help others. So you were trying to do both, right? You were also getting better and you were also learning the skills to help others. So as soon as you completed your life coaching certification, the program,
Mhm.
did you feel confident enough, equipped enough to get started immediately? How did you get your first set of clients?
Yeah, sure. Well, yes and no. I really loved my program. It was super comprehensive. They were wonderful about, you had the methodology behind life coaching, and then they also did help, really prepare you for the business side of it too, right?
Mm,
And I actually took on a few pro bono clients to really get the feel for my style, and really, yeah, like this is going to be my new career. This is my new venture. This is my business.
yeah.
And that was really wonderful. I was able to work with some really great people, and really kind of gain that confidence and see like, wow, I helped them do this, right? I've been um, a part of their journey, and now
Mm,
they're able to, now they have these tools forever. Actually, that's one of the beautiful things about life coaching, is that it's just not, here we're going to accomplish this during our 90 days together or whatever. You learn so many strategies and tools that are really long term that you can continue to apply again and again and again, even beyond the time that you're working with somebody. So yeah, I took on those pro bono clients. I was able to get a feel for it, gain some testimonials, which made me
yeah.
feel great. And it was a win-win. And then after that, yeah, I was off and running. It didn't come all at once. I will say that I actually hired a coach of my own. I hired a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because that's just it, you're like, all right, doors open, like the open sign's here. Like, where is everybody?
Exactly. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. There is so much to know about running a business, running an online business, and marketing and your ideal client, and reaching the right people who can really benefit from your services. So
Mm.
that is an ongoing journey. I still do a lot of ideal client work. I still have coaches of my own and mentors of my own. I don't think that will ever change. And yeah, I mean, I just keep learning and growing, and my business expands as I expand and evolve too.
Now, thank you so much for sharing this, Kimberly, because all the high achievers I've spoken to are lifelong learners, and they take so much pride in telling that I'm still a student. I keep learning from my coaches and mentors, and that's never going to stop, because you don't want your growth to stop. You want to keep evolving. And I think for that, you definitely need people to guide you and support you. And the other thing that I really liked about what you mentioned is having these pro bono clients, right? A lot of times we are told that we should know the value, we should know our self-worth, so we must not undercharge. All that is good, but
Yes.
then I think when we start out, we need to be sure if what we teach is actually helping people and if they are getting results. And it's absolutely okay to not charge people and get your system and structure and the process in place, and then gain that confidence to actually charge your worth. And I think it's worth waiting for that period of time to help a few people before getting that confidence.
It definitely is. I wouldn't change a thing, and I'm with you, even now, when it comes to pricing and things like that, I've gradually increased my prices, and think about that as, and again, too, as I'm coached and my skills expand, the value of my services does increase that too. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, I don't think people should feel bad about, selling their skills, selling their expertise. It is valuable. It needs to, you need to earn a living, right? You've got bills to pay. We've all got bills to pay. So, in and I'm a giver at heart. I think that there's always opportunities to give back to the community, do some, nonprofit work or contribute. And, I've donated my, package to different auctions and things like that for non-for-profits. And I definitely make space for that within my business. But
Yeah.
yes, it's absolutely crucial that your worth and you're not afraid to charge the money, because you are helping people. Your
Yeah.
services are of high value, and you're giving your gifts to the world. So that's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, this is such a nice way of putting it, because a lot of people feel that, I need to be charitable, I need to contribute to the world. But there are so many ways to do that. And, like underselling yourself by cutting down your price is not the best way to do that. You charge
No.
what you're worth, get the money from your clients who are in turn getting immense value from you, and then you contribute a portion of it to whichever cause that you are passionate about. So I think that is the best way to serve people in the highest way.
Absolutely. Our mindset around money and earning money is also an area that I've dived into myself, right? Because as you are a business owner and your prices are increasing, and you have these, it shakes you like, okay, can I actually do this? Is this wrong? The world kind of gives us these skewed ideas about money, right? That money is the root of all evil, or, more money, more problems, right? Things like that. And then we have this kind of negative view on it, but, money is actually a beautiful tool. And when you make more money, you can give, you're in a better position to help people, to do those charitable things. And then, you're not cutting yourself short either.
Yeah. So currently, after it's been a few years, right, since you set up the business. So currently, who are your ideal clients? Whom do you love working with, and how do you help them?
Sure. Well, and as much as I really embrace all humans, right? Marketing wants you to hone in on that ideal client. And my ideal client is the the busy, ambitious, working woman, or mother or entrepreneur, right? It's really kind of a broad scope. And I think about it, it's really who I am, who I was, who I'm continuing to evolve into. But, it's women, mothers, and entrepreneurs who are really wanting to stop stressing, right? The stress in their lives, that frantic energy, they're just really wanting to stop all of that, stop worrying so much. They want to focus more. They want to be present for their families, for their career, right? And they also want to continue to do more, right? They're happy and they're grateful, but they want more, and they're not quite sure how to get there. They're not quite sure where to start amidst all of the daily chaos that exists in our life, right?
Yeah.
And all the roles that we play as a working mom, or a mom that also runs a business, or just a mom and a woman and somebody who's taking care of their family and supporting their spouse, and where do I find time for me and my dreams? It can be really hard to put that puzzle together by yourself, right?
So true.
And cut through those distractions. So I work with a lot of just, everyday women, high achieving women, just women who want more for themselves, whether that's for their own personal dreams and goals, whether that's for their family and their household. A lot of these things, really they feel guilty because it feels like it's starting from them, but it really spills over and benefits all the people in their lives. And so, yeah, we work on, their health and wellness, their mindset, really just making space, making their life feel easier and more
Yeah.
fulfilling.
I can totally resonate with whatever you're saying, because, being a mom, being somebody who is career oriented, you want to do so many things, right? And it can definitely get stressful and overwhelming. And life becomes a lot easier when you don't have to do it alone. You have a coach who's going to guide you and support you. So I'm really glad that you're in this space helping so many people, Kimberly. So one thing
Thank you
that
so much.
You're welcome. One thing I noticed that you talk about in your workshops is about time management and setting boundaries. So this is one area where women typically struggle, right? Because we want to do so many things in so many roles. So could you just give us like one tip to set the boundaries and use that to manage our time well?
Sure, sure. So, and I have a great one. I operate by the rule of three.
Mm,
So I try not to put more than three things on my calendar or on my task list any given day, right? So three may seem like a very small number, right? But for instance, today, if I have, a meeting with you, Jotza, and I have another meeting with another client, and then I have another project that I want to work on, that's going to fill my entire day.
yeah.
Right. And oftentimes, yeah, my ideal client struggles with perfectionism, people pleasing. So we love to make these great big lists. I still love a good list, right? I love crossing it off and checking it off. And that always gives us a great feeling. But a lot of times we make these big lists and they're just not realistic, right? And
Mm,
then we only get one or two or three of them accomplished. Maybe we've even misprioritized some of them because we're thinking we're going to have enough time. And then some of these really important things fall through the cracks and we feel like a failure. We're like,
mm,
and it's this self-fulfilling prophecy of not feeling good enough and then not meeting that daily goal, continuing to not feel good enough.
yeah.
And it wears
Like
away at
a
us.
vicious cycle, right? It keeps coming back.
It's exhausting. It really is. So, I am very careful about my time and how I manage it. I don't want to rush around. I don't want to rush around frantically. No, I'm done with that. I'm done with that life. Like, and I don't think
Yeah,
anybody needs to do that. I think that's um, a terrible expectation, that
exactly.
like, because being busy does not equal productivity. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean that you're productive in that time.
so true.
Um, so yeah, the rule of three is great. What are your top three things that you want to accomplish for the day, for the week, for the month, right?
Mm,
Your monthly goals should kind of connect to weekly projects, and your weekly projects should connect to daily tasks. And so it's a really easy formula to kind of reverse engineer and back into, okay, what do I really need to get done? And what are the
mm,
things that just don't matter, right? What can I cross off my to-do list and just erase completely? Because I think sometimes we put things on there and we tell ourselves they're important. We tell
mm.
ourselves that they need to get done, but they really don't. And then in the end, they really just take up space. And then they're one of those things that makes us feel like we haven't done enough and we're not achieving and we're not good enough. So yeah, it is discerning and being brutal to the things that don't matter and
Right.
ultra prioritizing the things that do.
And this strategy is so good because when you force yourself to only pick three things, you
Mhm.
will most likely pick the important things and leave out the, not so important things, or you'll probably delegate or automate all that unwanted stuff and just focus on the
Yeah,
three things that only you can do, right? So yeah,
absolutely.
this makes total sense. And also, you also speak a lot about holistic wellness and self-care, right?
I
Because
do.
women especially want to be a caregiver for everybody else, and we put ourselves as the last priority. So what are some of your favorite self-care rituals that you personally do to just make you feel that you're pampering yourself?
Sure. I love self-care. I think self-care is a daily practice. It really is. I want to always be filling my cup so high, right, that it just spills over and everybody else benefits too. I love a good morning routine. I like to enjoy my coffee. I do my journaling, my gratitude. I do a gratitude list and a desire list every single day. And that also helps me kind of prioritize and shift about, okay, what do I really want today to be like?
Mm,
It helps me stay intentional. Um, I'm always, I love to be active, right? So whether that's just going for a walk, Houston has a lot of wonderful like gardens and parks and things like that. So I like to spend a lot of outdoor time, get some vitamin
mhm.
D. I
Nice.
have an evening ritual too, right? Where I slow down and I really, you know, think about my day and I try and be present, maybe do some meditation, maybe do a very slow skincare routine or self massage. Um, and that helps prepare me for sleep, right? You know, a lot of times you see people struggling with sleep because we're so connected and we're so on edge all of the time thinking about everything that needs to get done that we actually can't even rest and restore ourselves properly to feel good the next day, right? So it just wears away. But morning routines, evening routines, sunshine breaks, yoga. I'm big into yoga. And just trying to like hit all the different areas. Like, what are the things that I really want to do that can cultivate playfulness, right? So recently I went roller skating with my 7-year-old daughter.
Cool.
And that was really fun, like that self-care, because it's stuff that you don't do every day. And it doesn't have to be expensive either, right? I think that's also
Exactly.
you know, I mean, I think it was like $20 for us to go roller skating. So, yeah, just what can I do to cultivate playfulness, connection, right? Spending time with friends and really intentional time too, right? Like it's great to go to a gathering or whatever. And of course, less of those are happening. But I really enjoy one-on-one time with some of my good girlfriends and things like that. So those are the things that fill my soul, and I have to make sure that I'm getting on a regular basis. And then just I like to take myself out for little dates, right? So whether that's going on a little breakfast excursion after yoga, getting some breakfast tacos or a nice, you know, coffee and pastry in the morning. I like to spend time with myself and have that solitude. And I don't know. I think that's rare. You know, I think a lot of times we think we have to always be with other people or be
Yeah.
doing things for other people. And being with yourself is actually a wonderful practice too. That solitude can give you space to think
So
and
true.
to really dive into some of your thoughts and explore some of the things that you want for yourself and start to get creative. So yeah, those are some of my favorites. I mean, I'm always looking for new ways to practice that too, but
These are fantastic. I'm sure our viewers, listeners would have got some amazing ideas for self-care to, get started with. So
yeah.
tell us, Kimberly, for all those busy moms who are career oriented and who are feeling stressed out, where can they find out more about what you do and benefit from your work?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my website is a great place to find me, encompasscoachingservices.com. That's ENCOMPASS, coaching services with an S on the end.com. And actually, if you go there, there's a great free download. It's my free ebook called The Gift of Calm, which is filled with a bunch of other great ideas for self-care, ways to kind of nourish your nervous system and just really restore yourself and your energy. And then I do quite a bit on Instagram as well. My handle is at kimberly.brooke, BROOKE.Smith. So I do quite a bit of lives and mindset work and just, try to put some really valuable content out on that platform as well. So those are the two best places.
Awesome, Kimberly. Thanks for sharing that free ebook as well. We are going to have all the links right below in the show notes. Thank you once again for coming on Experts on Purpose. This was such a
Yeah,
fun conversation. Thank you.
definitely. Thank you, Jotza. It was a pleasure to be here.